Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Invincible Podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends sit around and talk all things Invincible, a comic book and now animated series created by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and joining me, as always, are my friends TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ.
And Bill.
Hi, it's Bill. That's 2 weeks in a row, or 2 months in a row you've done that.
Blame Skype. Blame Skype. He's on the top. You're on the bottom. I think he joined first. That's probably why.
Fair.
That is why. Guess you got to get in the call quicker. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. Feels like it's been a while since we've done this.
Does feel like
it felt
it's been a while.
alien. Yeah.
I think it's been 5 weeks, and that's why, maybe.
And we're even recording a bit earlier than we normally would. It's a little bit earlier in the week than we typically record. It's usually a couple days before the Friday that we release episodes. Recording this one a bit earlier because I am slammed at work right now. This is my busy season. So very, very busy picking all them grapes and dealing with the harvest this time of year. So I'm hopefully going to get this edited and up by Friday. So that's the plan.
Cool.
So,
football is back.
Yes.
And Halloween is coming, and
now
it's getting cold out.
I got to say, this is another, we're going back to our co-creator spotlights and our catalog, whatever you want to call it, where we're talking about other comics created by the original creative team of Invincible, Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley, and talking about their other work. So, I mean, it is kind of poignant that we're talking about Marvel Zombies here in October with Halloween season, So, yeah.
There's no excuse for it. Now it's just ridiculous.
It has gotten pretty ridiculous. That
Destroyer, it's always second, too. It's never
there hasn't been a poll without Destroyer on it, and it has never won.
Yeah.
It's because it's a thing. That's why, people,
It's true. But yeah, TJ, it's great. I mean, I'm loving this fall weather. It's freezing. It's been very cold these last couple of days. I'm all for it. I'm enjoying hoodies and beanies.
I'm enjoying hoodies. I will say that I'm enjoying hoodies, but other than that, that's the only good thing about the cold.
I think it's fucking perfect weather. This is like where it's at right here, and it's not freezing. It's 52 degrees out right now. That's not cold.
It's not too bad.
52 is not bad.
49 where I am. And don't be deceived because of Bill's, the room that he's in isn't, but your house is a haunted house this time of year, Bill. I think I came over, 3 weeks ago, and all the Halloween decorations were up?
No, we have some up. There's no, It's nothing too crazy though. Yeah.
Okay. My God. Liz goes pretty hardcore with the Halloween decorations. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. With every decoration, Christmas is even worse or better, depending on how you think of it. But yeah. So, yeah, like I said, Marvel Zombies, but we're going to get into that a little bit later in the episode for our main topic. I'm going to start off with a little bit of housekeeping here. You can email us to be a part of the show at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. The website is theinvinciblepodcast.com. You can find all of our previous episodes, a handy reading guide for anyone looking to find out what other tie-ins and where they fit into the Invincible storyline. Contact form, all that kind of stuff. You can find that over at theinvinciblepodcast.com. Send us some reviews over on iTunes. That always helps for visibility for people finding the show. And I got to put this right up front. We do spoil the comic here. We are talking as fans that have read the comic and seen the show. And so if you've just jumped onto this episode because you really dug that Amazon animated series, be aware we may talk about parts in the comic that you might not have read yet, which you should go read. Go check it out. Go listen to the new reader episodes of the podcast and read along with them as they experience it for the first time too. So we're going to start off with some Invincible related news. First up, I think this one was from a couple weeks ago. First non-news item. Comic Book Resources had an article claiming, or not claiming, but apparently Carrie Payton says that he finished season 2 and is actively working on season 3. So, like I said, non-news item, right? What are you laughing about, TJ?
I don't know why Bill just looks funny to me right now. When he's not, I don't know.
When I'm just listening, I am a little tired. Today was kind of a long day.
I think that's what it is. Like when you're not reacting and you're just like sitting there, you just look exhausted. I don't know why.
Thanks.
Just the smiling, just sitting.
It's not even smiling. I'm just fucking rocking in a back and forth.
Like when you're not rocking and you're just like sitting there, you look like you're like gonna fall asleep.
Yeah. What I was thinking when Ryan was talking about that is, did that seem like he wasn't really supposed to say anything about that? It kind of...
No, I think it's
No?
Like I said, I think that it is the kind of thing where people are hungry for news. He mentions it because it's really not a big deal. We got this over a year before season 1 came out about
season 2 and 3 being...
Clancy Brown saying that he finished recording it or something like that, and it was like over a year before season 1 came out. I remember.
I think that people,
he did say something about that.
I think that people just talk about it like it's not a big thing. Like I think when Steven Yeun said something about, I'm excited to get in the studio and start recording season 2, and people are like, they haven't even started recording season 2 yet, and it was a big deal, and it was like I don't think that people are,
so unfortunately,
I don't think it's a big deal just to talk about where they are.
Unfortunately,
Ryan has a...
What's that?
No, go ahead. Ruin the news.
Well, I'm not ruining the news. I'm just saying that unfortunately people take this news in the opposite direction. Oh, he finished season 2 and he's working on season 3. Season 2 is coming out this October. Like, it's coming out soon, right? And I mean, we used to be more naive.
The animation.
Well, that's the thing. We used to be more naive about animation. A lot of people don't really know that. I mean, it does take a long time. Voices are one of the first things they do. Like, they finished season 1 or season 2 voice acting. Like, good. They should have, because that's... Yeah. Because it'll hopefully come out next year.
It doesn't mean that season 2 is coming sooner. It means that season 3 is going to be coming sooner than season 2 is.
That's exciting, because if they're voice acting for season 3 right now, that means season 3 could be 2 years away, which is what we want.
A year after season 2.
Yep.
And then once they renew season 4, it's going to be they're going to be on a yearly schedule, which is going to be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think that it all kind of happens simultaneously to where once the voice recording is done of episode 1, then they can start the animation immediately on episode 1. So I'm thinking that if the voice recording is done for season 2, then they're probably like midway, of animation for season 2.
Yeah. That way they have
it's still going
all
to be
departments working on something.
While.
Yep. All right. Next up on news, Ryan Ottley. Ryan Ottley released a new variant cover for issue 19. He was teasing a bit over on Twitter, and he finally did the cover reveal last week or so, and it is a Battle Beast cover because, of course, 19 being the introduction of Battle Beast. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty great, huh?
Great guts. Yeah, eating guts.
Yeah. There's a fun Tony the Tiger reference. Yeah. They went online on sale online for a bit, and then I know he's going to be having them at New York Comic Con, I believe. And there's a few different variants, black and white, partial, and
I believe it's a New York Comic Con exclusive variant.
Interesting. Well, I know that.
But the other ones were too, and he sells them everywhere.
I think
the other ones were San Diego Comic Con.
I'm finding
exclusive.
that generally means like, hey, this is exclusive for New York Comic Con, and if there's any left over, we're going to continue to sell them. That's just how that works.
They're going to be.
Which you assume that there'll be enough, but hey, maybe not. Who knows how many he printed?
They did do a one time only for Whatnot. He put a link up and said this is New York Comic Con exclusive. However, for an hour, they're going to be available at this link or something like that. He did.
Yeah, I did see that. And I have seen a few people already receive theirs in the wild. Pretty cool. Speaking of Ryan Ottley and what he's up to next, Hulk. He's got his new 6-issue arc starting with Donny Cates this week. In fact, if you're hearing this, I believe it came out this past Wednesday, first week of October here. And he's going to be doing 6 more issues of Hulk. And then he said he's done with Hulk. We don't know if he's done with Marvel. We don't know what's next. But he said he's going on to something new. But part of that 6-issue arc is issue 11, which he announced is going to be drawn, inked, and written by him, which is pretty exciting, which means, Bill, you might like that one.
We'll most definitely like it because it's we had a conversation with them a little bit about it.
And if you don't like it, you will need to say that you like it.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't think you could deal with much more punishment.
Listen, if it's, I love Ryan Ottley's writing because it's like a kid in a candy store. It feels very much like just over the top, and I imagine it being like Grizzly Shark.
Yeah,
and just super fun. And
I forgot what it was. It was in the solicit and everything like that, or in his description, but it wasn't called Powerball or something. It was something ridiculous like that, where it's like a sporting event on an alien planet with Hulk.
Oh, he told us too.
Yeah,
I feel like he did tell us.
Yeah.
Is it Power? No, it's not. Is it Hulk Ball? No,
it wouldn't be Hulk Ball. I don't think. All right. Well, now that we're doing it, I'm looking it up because it's right here. Right. I've got it in 3 seconds.
3, 2, 1.
And it is called.
I hope it's called Hulk Ball.
God Ball.
God Ball.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, that'll be interesting because it's still, I think, involving gods and like all the stuff from Asgard and everything that was going on with that storyline. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. That does it for Invincible related news for the month.
I have some news.
What you got?
It's not really Invincible related. We did talk about how we were going to announce this on this episode, but we didn't talk about it since. So hope we're good for this.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I just thought it was, I had removed it from the news section when I created, no. When I created this,
we did say it was going to be this episode
outline,
that we talked
and
about
I assumed we talked about it last episode. So yeah, I guess go for it.
So there have been times where, listeners of the show will say we should branch off and do a, firepower podcast but the Radiant Black podcast people, they got the Firepower podcast on lock. They're doing a great job with that, and some other things that have come up here and there. And we've never really had any desire to do another podcast after Oblivion Song had ended until Skybound X came out.
Mm-hmm.
And we just could not stop raving about how much we loved Chroma.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, starting, we're gonna start ChromaCast.
It's a good name too.
Yeah,
perfect. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. We're gonna start that, and we're gonna do it, I think, the same way that we did Oblivion Song, to where it's gonna come out the Friday following the new issue release. So whenever Chroma comes out, the next podcast reviewing that issue will come out the Friday following that. So typically 2 days after.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Friday after, not the Friday following, because that sounds like it would be a week and a half after the fact, but it would be the same week that the comic comes out.
Right. So we still got to get everything in order. We don't have a Twitter yet. We'll be making a Twitter for that, but keep an eye out on the Invincible podcast or Invincible Cast on Twitter, and also Oblivion podcast, which is the Oblivion Song podcast Twitter as well.
Yeah.
To for those updates and where we're going. But the most exciting thing about this podcast is that it's not just going to be us. It's going to be it's also going to be joining us is friend of the Invincible podcast and the Oblivion Song podcast, Wyatt Layne, the guy that we talk about all the time, who does our music for Invincible, and he does our music. He did our music for Oblivion Song. So he's going to be joining us on that as well to give us his
as
thoughts.
A regular host, which just is perfect because the first little bit of Chroma that we talked about was with Wyatt.
Well, so it's perfect.
Yep.
And he is not.
So he's already been. He's already been reviewing.
They did. Skybound did just release a little teaser video for Chroma today.
They did. Have you seen it, Bill?
It? I didn't. I saw Kirkman retweeted it, and I was going to watch it, but again, today was just a very busy day at work.
So one thing that makes me even more excited about it is that it would appear through the video that the main characters are children. It's a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool and unique.
Yeah, cool. There was something, I forgot what it was. There was something about the girl that, I mean, it was in the solicit, like the main story was like about this girl. So yeah, very cool.
And we're taking it very seriously too. So we've actually partnered with Skybound. They're flying us to Italy to live with Lorenzo. Dave Felici, he's
Lorenzo doesn't know this yet.
Disclaimer, none of that is true. None of that, nothing that Bill just said was true.
Maybe now though, who knows? Maybe by now it would be true.
All right, moving on to emails. First up, we've got one from our good friend Mike Barrett. Mike says, "Hi guys, no destroyer again. I 100% blame TJ. Assuming his amazing Ryan Ottley zombie commission inspired this vote, congrats again on that zombie-themed masterpiece, sir."
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
There's that, too. Yeah.
Maybe people got into the mindset of zombies.
No, it had nothing to do with it. People just fucking me.
So this does talk about the series, so we will probably go from this into Marvel Zombies here. Mike says, "I think the coolest part of the Marvel Zombies comic series was all the famous Marvel covers that were turned into zombie variants throughout the series release. With that in mind, what Invincible covers would you like to see full zombie variants made available? Other than Ottley, what artist would you like to see create said variants? I'd also like to put up for discussion, what craziness would a Kirkman-written, Ottley drawn Invincible Zombies miniseries look like? Please, as you
say that again.
1 second. Please, as you answer this question, speak directly to Kirkman and Ottley. We know they are listening, guys. We need you to make this miniseries ASAP. Love always, your episode 10 special guest, Mike Barrett." So that's a cool question, and I wish we would have thought more about this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back to this at the end of our Marvel Zombies discussion. So in the meantime, think about what you would want a Invincible Zombies spinoff to be like. Okay. The other things that he was talking about was the zombie variants. So whether you got the hardcover or the trade paperbacks, the covers to Marvel Zombies are always homages to classic Marvel Comics covers, and so they're like a zombified variant. What is a variant from Invincible that you would like to see zombified?
Are we answering that one now?
Yeah, sure. If you're ready for it.
I feel like the easy one, which I'm not going to go with this one because it's already just ridiculous, is issue 63 where Invincible is like all bloodied up.
He's already
exactly, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
First instinct, just because it is what it is. It's the hands, and just picturing like one of the hands like grabbing instead of reaching, and it being just like all gross and like falling apart. So a hand cover, got to go with a hand cover. Missing some fingers. I picture like the cover for Left 4 Dead or something like that.
TJ, what do you think? What do you think my cover is? Because I already have it. It's easy.
Probably fucking Dinosaurus.
It is Dinosaurus. So
it's tough to do a Dinosaurus without zombie.
Could you? No, because you haven't seen a zombie dinosaur really before, especially one that's like humanoid as well.
Mm-hmm.
But do I want the cover where Dinosaurus is in the cloak? Right? Would that be kind of cool?
Is there a cover with him in the cloak?
Is there one with him in the cloak? Isn't that, or is he just in a cloak in that issue?
I think he's just in the cloak.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to look up the number. I can't remember the number, but it's the Green Battle Beast one of him charging forward. Picture that zombified. That would be cool.
Yeah,
I have a cool one.
But no, Bill, it's the one where Dinosaurus is engulfed in like flames and he's like roaring upwards.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That one zombified would be cool.
That is the one. Yeah.
I have one that by making them zombies, it kind of changes what's happening in the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 50 makes Cecil a zombie.
Oh.
He's kind of reaching reaching for Invincible.
Or,
you know what I mean?
Invincible's the zombie and Cecil is just being eaten at his feet.
Could be either one.
I could be I don't know, greedy and say I want the reboot 3 cover spread to be zombified, because then we just get to see all those scenes and all those characters zombified.
As zombies.
The one above TJ's head right now. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
What are some other cool zombified covers?
75 of all the characters flying downward and the villains flying upward.
That fold out.
Yeah.
Or,
I really like the idea. I want to go back to
I need to see.
I don't know, was it TJ? TJ, you said issue 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Imagine if it were like still white, but there's a gravestone and Cecil were coming out of like the ground at a grave instead. And I think that would look so cool. Like I can see it really vividly. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I like that idea.
All right. So now that I'm thinking about this, should we answer the other question right now? What kind of stories would you want to see?
Mine, I feel like
I'm trying to think. Like,
the easy way out would be an Angstrom thing. So you could have it be canon, and then all of a sudden it's like one of the dimensions at Angstrom because there are zombies there. So it could be that dimension. But I like the idea of it involving the blue spaghetti monster.
Oh.
Like him coming back to his reality, and all of a sudden everyone's just zombies, or
everyone that had previously died.
Maybe a parody of Planet of the Apes, like where Mark leaves Earth and he gets stuck in one of these other dimensions for as he does for 5 years, and then comes back to Earth and everyone's a zombie.
Or if it tracks, because you'd have to be like, well, what would make zombies appear? You could almost go with what if it's a sequel to the Sequid story, or the Sequids, how we say, like them bonding with corpses, and then them reanimating. So the Sequids reanimate corpses.
What if Sequids can reanimate a human corpse? That's one of those things that I don't know, assuming they can't, but
it could, but you would, but if you read it, you're like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. Instead of just all of a sudden zombies being there, to make it work with the story, the Sequids, they could, and they have a brain on them, right? So,
all right, I got it.
Scourge virus
in this universe. Scourge virus is something cool that can be pulled into it.
Scourge virus with the Sequids.
There's something there, TJ. But what I was going to say,
Scourge.
One direction this plot could go would be alternate universe or whatever, but it's the Guardians of the Globe come back. The ones that Nolan killed.
Oh man, Blackest Night. Oh, Blackest Night.
So
was
it's
so
them
good.
coming back, and whether it's the Marvel Zombies style where they're still, have all their facilities, they could still talk and think, and they still have their powers and everything like that, and it's them revealing that Nolan killed them or something like that. But then they're also, I don't know. There's that could be cool too.
But why? Because I think the why or the how is the interesting part.
How I don't know, but why?
The
because
are a really fun idea. What if? Okay, all right. Change on the zombie thing. It's still zombies because they're dead corpses, right? But what if the technicians that brought Angstrom back? What if they go and they're like, we need to reanimate the dead Guardians, right, and help defeat the Viltrumites? So they go through all these alternate dimensions and reanimate all these heroes that were killed. So now they're all kind of mechanized, decomposing zombies.
There you go. So because they're part technician.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The end of the first issue would
end. But
they're
still mindless. They're still mindless because they're dead. So the technicians are remote controlling them. But
okay. I like it.
End of the first issue would end, and the zombies are taking over and they're winning, and then you see all the zombies and the heroes are fucked, and then the zombies just part, and in the center explode.
TJ, I was going to say, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. He's the one that can't come back. What is there to reanimate?
By the way.
It's just a headless.
It's just half his head and his shoulder.
Yeah.
There's nothing left, TJ. No,
what would Rexplode replace his head with? A robot head?
I mean, it was just his head. It was his whole body.
Oh yeah,
that's everything. All right, thanks, Mike. That was great. We got another one here from Owen. Owen says, "Hello again, members of the Invincible podcast. It's only fitting that for the month of October, you guys cover Marvel Zombies. Fun fact, I believe this was the first I ever heard of Robert Kirkman before The Walking Dead or Invincible. Speaking of Walking Dead, this leads to my question. At this point in time, Robert Kirkman had been writing Walking Dead for about 3 years by the time of Marvel Zombies began publication. How much of The Walking Dead do you think influenced Marvel Zombies, and how much of Marvel Zombies influenced The Walking Dead?
Thanks again from Owen. Also, #NeverDestroyer. Sorry, not sorry.
0. I think 0% was inspired in either. They feel completely different. I think the only common thread is zombies, and that's really it.
Yeah. So, I know
if you were to tell me that like Kirkman wrote both, I would know it from the writing, but not from, if that makes sense, like what they're saying. But I don't really feel like they're inspired by each other.
I don't think there's too much. I did read something like researching for this, and like, Robert Kirkman at some point said that he wasn't concerned about being typecast, because I mean at the time he was doing a lot of Marvel Team Up and Ultimate X-Men and some other stories for Marvel, as well as doing this hit indie comic about zombies. So it was like, it's kind of the guy. You want superheroes and you want zombies, he's the guy. But really, after reading some of his Marvel stuff and reading all of The Walking Dead, it doesn't really feel like Walking Dead. If anything, I guess I could say that if I'm looking for something, it's the idea, which, we're going to start getting into our discussion on Marvel Zombies now, which I think is one of the best things about Marvel Zombies. It's the idea that they are still sentient, I think, is what makes this work. Which I think I have a lot more to talk on, but maybe that could be one of the things that I could see. Okay, there's that little bit of a Kirkman thing in there, but I don't know. Other than that, I don't think it really affected the other, Walking Dead or anything else, or Walking Dead affect this too much. If anything, maybe he was able to just have more fun with this and let loose a bit when he's keeping things serious in Walking Dead.
Yeah, if The Walking Dead was remotely funny or satirical, then I could see it, but they're just completely different tones, completely different tones.
Yep.
You honestly, you could tell me that Kirkman didn't write Marvel Zombies and I would probably believe you. Like, it doesn't really.
Yeah. Okay, good. Going to go into our main topic then. We're going to talk more about Marvel Zombies. I'm going to read this introduction first. This is pulled right from Wikipedia. It's just, it works so well. So, Marvel Zombies, a 5-issue limited series published from December 2005 to April 2006. The series was written by Robert Kirkman with art by Sean Phillips and covers by Arthur Suydam. It was the first series in the Marvel Zombies series of related stories. The story is set in an alternate universe where the world's superhero population has been infected with a virus which turned them into zombies. The series was spun out of events of the crossover arc of the Ultimate Fantastic Four, where the zombie Reed Richards tricked his Ultimate counterpart into opening a portal to the zombie universe, where only for the latter to contain the former from ever coming to his universe. All right, following an adaptation in the episode of What If, Zombies of the Disney Plus animated series What If, an upcoming animated series of the same name is in development, both of which are set in the MCU. Let's start with you guys. TJ, what was your first introduction to Marvel Zombies?
My first introduction?
Yeah.
I think
Was this your first time reading it?
I feel like it might have been, because I feel like I read the first issue when it first came out. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not, but if I read the first issue, it was.
So reading this,
definitely don't remember it.
Yeah, it was like reading for the first time at least.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, Bill, what was your interaction with?
We read it. At least you and I read it. I feel like I definitely didn't know about it by myself. And I really honestly feel like it was something you showed me, or I would have even said TJ. I thought TJ, we all read it together when it came out.
It's funny because I don't remember when I first started reading it, making the connection that this was the Walking Dead guy. Like, I feel like it was just because it was zombies and Marvel that was like, oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like I knew when I first heard about Marvel Zombies, it was Kirkman.
Oh, really?
I could have sworn.
So it was funny because I just looked it up here because I never see this cover anymore of the one I have. And And so it is
I
first
remember,
printing. So I think I got this hardcover like right when it came out in 2006.
Another reason why I think that we all knew about it through Kirkman because of Kirkman is because I remember, Ryan, you kept reading long after Kirkman had stopped writing it. And I remember when you kept going, I was like, oh, really? You're going to continue that even though Kirkman's not? So that's what makes me think that we knew about Kirkman right at the beginning.
So I will touch on that. Yes. I did not read these as they came out. I got the first hardcover. And then shortly after that, they came out with Marvel Zombies Dead Days, which was a one-shot written by Robert Kirkman, which takes place before all this. It's a little bit more of an origin story. And then after that, he did, it was a couple of years after this one, Marvel Zombies 2. That one, TJ, I did get issue by issue from our old comic shop. So that's probably where you were introduced and what you're thinking of.
Did that one have Deadpool in it?
No.
As a head or something like that?
No, it was very much like this. It felt just like this. Okay. It continues the story directly. And then Marvel Zombies 3 came out, and that wasn't by Robert Kirkman. So he only did this, Dead Days, a one-shot, and Marvel Zombies 2. I might have grabbed a couple issues of that TJ3. I don't remember anything about that. In preparing for this and reading this, I did read up on Dead Days and Marvel Zombies 2, and I do kind of remember what happens in those. But there's a ton of spin-offs. There's Army of Darkness, like Ash from Evil Dead. That gets involved into the origin of Marvel Zombies. I want to say it's up to Marvel Zombies 5. They've spun it off into being other sub names underneath it. It's appeared in other comics, it is just one of the multiverses now at this point where it is just, used every now and then. In fact, we just experienced it a few months ago in Hulk, in Ryan Ottley's run. Like at one point, Hulk fights the Marvel Zombies as a threat in the engine. So that being said, I read this years ago, and then I reread it again back in I want to say February or so when we first started doing the co-creator catalog, and it was looking like it might win, but it didn't. And that was also around the time that a board game got backed on Kickstarter that I know Mike Barrett and some other listeners were to the podcast are going to play. But it's a Marvel Zombies board game. So really excited about that. And so in thinking about that, I was looking forward to reading it, and I read it back then. So anyways, that's kind of where we started reading it. TJ, let's start with you because this was pretty much your first time. We'll call it your first time reading it. What did you think going into it now, reading something that was written in 2005?
Like, what did I think of it?
Yep.
I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I felt like it did not feel at all like Robert Kirkman. Mm-hmm. Not at all. I felt like, it almost felt like early Kirkman but at the same time, I can't say that because early Walking Dead was incredible. And I just didn't think it was so much for me. There were some entertaining parts. But yeah, it was just kind of, I don't think it was bad by any means or awful, but it was just okay for me.
I think what felt Kirkman-y were little things like the Hulk being like, oh no, someone hurt me. So I turned into the Hulk. God. And then he gets hit in the face with a shovel and he's like, oh yeah, I don't feel pain. So that doesn't really do anything. Things like that seem Kirkman-esque, there's a few of those
smart ideas.
Smart ideas that are oh, okay. But other than that, TJ, I would agree with you.
I think there was a lot of dialogue that didn't feel natural. A lot where it's yeah, I don't know if I want to fight this Galactus guy. And then someone was like, we should be happy that he's this size so that we can eat him. And it's why would you say it like that? That's just little things like that are just a little weird.
I could see that. It definitely feels.
That's how Marvel team up fucking comics are though. That's how.
And that's kind of coming back to what Owen was asking us. There were things in this that felt where I could see okay, yeah, there's that Kirkman kind of voice in there, and then you can kind of get the voice of like Rick Grimes 2000 or Die Die Die, or like, you know, when Robert Kirkman is just like, I'm going to do something fucking weird and just make it goofy and random. Care. And and you could tell that he has that voice and he has that comedy. And this feels like he's trying to have, like he was going for the comedy, but also have the seriousness that he can pull from The Walking Dead and that real world gritty dire situations, but also be within the approval of Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like he's spinning those three plates where he's like, I'm going comedy, I'm going dire and serious, and also I can't go too far because not that, I mean, that being said though, I'm amazed at how far they did go. Like this isn't Max or whatever for like ratings or anything like that. Like this is gross. That's the other thing. Like this is disgusting. I think that there's things in this that grosses me out far more than Conquest stuff or Battle Beast stuff.
Okay, all right. Dude. So let's make this a little segment. The grossest part for me, should I say? I'm going to say what the grossest part for me is.
All right, go for it.
Bruce Banner and his stomach being like all the bones and stuff, and him being like, "Oh yeah, down. I felt my stomach tear open," and then he's like, "Oh, a bone's gonna pop through," and like his gut explodes,
and then Thor starts eating it.
Oh,
dude, and I think one of the things that does it for me is the fact that they don't use blood. Everything is this gray, green, bile. Like pussy, bile, gross, vomity thing. So it's almost like everything is puke instead of blood. And blood I can handle. Like I feel like I can deal with that when it comes to like Invincible and everything.
Captain's brain, there's just something about the Red Skull grabbing his brain out of his head. I was like, oh,
like man. I feel like I would, like, because I enjoyed it good enough, but for what it is, I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if it were. Because, like, don't get me wrong, the art is exactly what it needs to be gross and disgusting. But it is gross and disgusting. This totally it turns me off a bit at times when I'm reading it. I'm like, oh man, they just look so awful and disgusting. But it gets it across, man. It is messed up. I mean, another one of the things that kind of makes me think of Kirkman was the Black Panther bit. Not only the smartness of it, the okay, I'm going to keep someone alive, and like that is in Walking Dead. Like later, he did it in this first. Like that's Dale or whoever on the, that they're picking at. Yeah,
and him, even when T'Challa, like when he comes out of the coma or the all the sedatives wear off, and he's like. Got the cane and he's missing a leg and he's missing an arm and he has the wasp's head and stuff like that. There's
all right, you came back laughing, so I'm assuming
You're
know.
Back. You're back. Ryan, you froze. Oh man, I hope that it's on the video. I hope
it won't be because
it will be.
Record from his.
I think it will be.
I don't know
because it did stop.
I can't even.
No, because
really?
Ryan, you've frozen before, and like when it's actually recorded, you were like, "Oh no, did I freeze? Like you didn't get to see it, but just know it was a good one."
Okay, good. All right, so Bill, what you were saying was when he was walking with the wasp head, then you, I lost you.
Yeah, it felt like a unique idea. Like you wouldn't see that coming, which is where I think Kirkman's writing comes in. So there wasn't really anything written dialogue wise that felt Kirkman-y. It was just the general ideas of things. Like, wouldn't it be cool if T'Challa was being eaten alive? Like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, I don't know.
And that's something that I alluded to earlier. Which
Peter Parker feels sorry for eating Aunt May and
why
Mary
he keeps
Jane.
the mask on because he can't look at himself.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Hank said the same thing.
Still feels.
He said the same thing when he keeps his mask on. Yeah.
But I do like the idea of T'Challa being like, or talking with Wasp and T'Challa being like, you're hungry, but you don't have a stomach, like, which means it's all in your head. Like this isn't physical. Like, so this is something that, you can be cured of, like that can go away. And I liked that idea because, okay, so destroy the brains, they die. So it is all in their head. And why the body doesn't matter, and they continue to hunger. And now the idea of what happens if they don't eat for a certain amount of time and it passes, and then they're alive again. Like they're not alive, but they're cured of it in a way. I really like that concept. I think that's a fun concept that we haven't seen before. I'm
remembering, I can't say for sure, but I'm just going by like what I feel. I remember did I read the prequel to this?
You probably read Dead Days.
I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing Peter.
I reread it.
Change and eating
yes,
Mary Jane.
He does.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I remember he eats Mary Jane and Aunt May comes in.
So
and he tells Aunt May to lock herself in the bathroom because he can't stop.
Okay, all right. So I remember that being better than this.
It was very good. I reread that.
And I remember parts of the sequel being better than this too. Like I remember this not being the best Marvel Zombies that's out there. I feel like
check out Dead Days in the sequel, because I reread those in prep for this, and they are good. They are good. Dead Days explores more of the idea of curing them.
Okay.
There was something else that I was going to bring up, and now I forgot. But yeah, so overall, I enjoyed it. I think it was a fun read, especially for this time of the year. All the cosmic stuff with Silver Surfer and Galactus was fun. Seeing zombie villains versus zombie heroes in a battle at the end was fun. Again,
they each fought their own villain.
Yep. I mean, Wolverine cutting his own arm off, Spider-Man breaking his own leg off, like the Hulk with his gut, like it was just disgusting. I mean, it is appropriately disgusting. And
Wolverine. No, don't. That was awesome, and that's another that's like one of those Kirkman ideas. Like, wouldn't it be cool if Wolverine, like, so he slashed at Silver Surfer and his claws stopped, but his arm kept going.
Yes.
So his arm flesh detached from his adamantium bones.
Yes.
And then everything just kind of like detached because he didn't have.
And then he cut off the remaining
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. The visual of that alone was. Yeah, awesome. It was so gross and so cool.
But touching on the sentient thing, that is one thing that I feel like we lost in the. I know this doesn't have anything to do with Robert Kirkman or anything, but in the Disney Plus animated episode for What If, I feel like, I mean, I enjoyed that enough. That was fun. But one thing that I think you lose with the style they're going with that is that sentience, and I understand why they're not going with that. That is pretty dark and brutal. But I think what made this story interesting was them still being sentient and still and like hating what they've become, and having those discussions about, okay, well, we have a clear mind because we just ate. Let's figure out what's going on. Why are we doing this? How can we figure this out? Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Like, that was interesting.
It's from the perspective of the zombies, which you don't,
often
which you
get.
never,
So I don't know. I think talking about it with you guys, I liked it a little bit more than I did before talking about it with you guys. I think there's a lot to appreciate here. It's a fun read. I think it's,
it was an
quick,
easy read.
A good seasonal thing, kind of like reading Long Halloween, around this time of year. Just a dumb, fun thing to read. Not
it's
calling that dumb,
than
though.
Long Halloween.
What'd you say?
I said it's easier than Long Halloween.
Oh, yeah. Way easier. So, that does it for Marvel Zombies. Any other final thoughts on that?
I just can't fucking wait for Destroyer, man. Like, that's Kirkman.
Someday, man. Let me ask, what do you think will come first? Will we watch
everything
Invincible
else?
Season 2?
100%.
Before
Ryan, as long as you continue to give options other than Destroyer, it will be those.
There's going to be a point.
Options.
I mean, there's going to be a point in which I run out of other options. So Destroyer will be on there twice.
It will be after Invincible Season 2.
So if Destroyer's on there twice, it'll split the vote and still lose. I just realized that hurts it. We'll see. We'll see if I do that. I don't know. That'd be funny, though. All right. So we have another segment here that I want to touch on. We got one more email to read, but I wanted to save it for after the main topic. So I'm going to go ahead and send a link to you guys and read this one for you. So this comes from, I'm not sending the link yet. So listen first and then I'll send the link. All right. This is from Luke. Luke says, "Hello, Ryan, Bill, and the sweet one."
It's a sweet one.
A couple episodes ago, I wrote and mentioned that how you guys have inspired me to become a better fan. I was reading the series again, and I jokingly said, I'll start the Invincible podcast. A podcast for fans of the Invincible podcast.
Come on, no way.
Christopher Wise, a big fan of the Invincible podcast, tossed out the idea of actually making the Invincible podcast. He did not stop there.
We met him, right?
Yes,
Did we meet him?
We met him in Chicago. Yep. Christopher recruited me and the one and only Mitch Krasen.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Once Mitch was on board, game over. It was happening.
Oh, God.
Once you guys are ready, go ahead and click on the link.
We're in trouble. Are in trouble.
Best Luke from LA. All right, give me a minute. We have to start at the same time. Okay. Here we go. We're going to go on start. Ready? 3, 2, 1, start. Oh my God.
Hello and welcome to the Invincible Podcast, a show where friends sit around and talk all things the Invincible Podcast, a show where friends sit around and talk all things Invincible. I'm your host, Luke, and here with me is Christopher and Mitch.
Oh, hello, it's Mitch.
Oh, damn you, Mitch.
Hey, guys.
Hey, we are also the Oblivion Song podcast, along with the Square Guys News Network for the comic about a comic, Shining Midnight, a comic by Bile Tiggins. We also have our new listener episodes, which are hosted by all of our pets listening to the Invincible podcast. And look, I want to say, before we even actually get into the meat and bones of this, there was some talk about how I was the one that was not allowing us to be able to listen to a podcast about Destroyer. And I want to just make sure that I let it be known. It will be Destroyer when I let it be Destroyer.
True.
That's
Hashtag never destroyer.
Wow. All right, now we know.
And now we're going to come into the news section of our podcast.
Oh my God, this is better produced than ours.
Anything new with Ryan, Bill, or the sweet one?
That sounds good.
The news is there's a new episode. So what are you guys' first general thoughts and impressions on the episode?
This episode was on the road.
They were actually in the
had,
same room.
Yeah, they had Wyatt Layne on there, who I wish we could get on for this podcast.
The big dream come true of that episode was having Wyatt on. I mean, I don't know about you guys.
It's so true.
I'm an Invincible fan second, a Wyatt Layne fan first.
Every time
Absolutely. I think he's up to 19 listeners a month on Spotify, which is great. I'm one of them.
I can count myself among the privileged few that have been able to actually play the Avengers with him. So being a part of that superhero team with the
Wow, man.
was actually one of the most exciting things in my life. A big celebrity. It was very cool. Hopefully you'll be here next
Absolutely,
week too. I don't know. I'd like to go, but I'm stuck down here in San Diego with only the biggest comic convention around here. Maybe he'll come to this one day. I don't know.
I mean, he'll probably be running it soon enough.
One of the things I wanted to delve into, though, and make sure we talked about with this episode was the counts. The counts that they do. We always talk about the counts of Rexplode versus Dinosaurus. And I want to say, this was a very disappointing episode for me. Rexplode came up multiple times during all the conversation about all the action figures, whereas Dinosaurus came up not once.
How it should be. It's how it should be,
which is the most
Mitch.
upsetting thing. And I really am disappointed most of all in Bill, because he was actually so excited about how they were getting a
He didn't have a good argument.
action figure at some point. And I was like, this man has deserted us over like nothing. Dinosaurus is very clearly better than Rexplode. Never Rexplode.
Oh, yes.
I am so disappointed.
Bill was actually the reason that Dinosaurus was my favorite character. Just the way he described him, it was very in-depth, Bill, which leads us into our next segment about Bill's preparedness. Bill's preparedness for this episode. And I would have to give it about a 6. He had a second run through this time since they had previously recorded the episode, but that's all right. He's getting better, I think.
How did you feel when Bill wasn't, stepping up for. I mean, look, TJ.
It's a sweet one.
Sweet one.
Always defending Rexplode, right? Rexplode this, Rexplode that. Rexplode could have murdered someone, and TJ would say, no, he didn't. He would never do that.
Never.
How did you feel, Bill, who turned you on to Dinosaurus, didn't have your back?
Betrayed is definitely the word, Luke. You hit the nail right on the head. I mean, for him to have such gusto and passion for such a character, and then, to call him a zealot, I would. And now he just is completely let us down. 0 mentions, 0 talk, 0 applause for Dinosaurus. Come on. I mean, issue 100. This is what we've read, guys. Yeah. Come on. He the death of everyone is the stakes that we're dealing with here. He crushed Mark's head. I like to see Thrag do that.
You guys have no idea what you've done.
He's burnt on the sun.
Dinosaurus in every episode now. All right.
Right. I like to see Rexplode do that. He can't.
He could just explode it.
Absolutely.
Those
He's dead.
sticks, and he's dead.
Too soon.
He can't
Too soon,
crush
Chris.
anything with sticks. Maybe
Unfortunately not, Luke.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nightwing does
Bill.
it somehow, but he's cool.
It's a sweet commission.
As you all know, TJ's
It's a sweet one.
It's a sweet one.
a big art commission fan. He got it in his background and stuff. And well, we're at this part of the show where we get our own art commissions, and let's take a moment to showcase those.
Oh my god!
Who should we start with first?
Let's go with Mitch. Yeah, hit Mitch first.
I got a great one. Since we're talking while we're on the topic of TJ,
It's a sweet one. It's a sweet one.
I think that's like the focus of our commissions this week. In fact, I commissioned my dog to do this lovely portrait of TJ. And I really, really think that he nailed the sweet one. It's a sweet one.
It's a sweet one.
He's got the little headband.
Wow, man.
And has like the title across it. I think it's a very, very good.
Got the round head.
You really captured his eyes. Look at that.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it framed. It's going to be really, really cool
Missing
once I
a
put it
piece.
up on the wall with a bunch of these other things over here. Put it like right there.
For sure,
I
man.
mean, that
Wow.
Sweet.
Good job.
Looks sweet
Good
on
job.
the back wall.
Chris, I know that you got one too. What was yours?
I did. Now I take personal pride in this. I went out and got it framed even, and don't want to brag a little bit, but it's pretty nice. Pretty nice.
That is
is
very
nice.
gorgeous.
Spent
In the
about
Rex Blood costume.
$15 on the frame. Yeah, this is my commission of TJ as Rexplode. He has the bar thing, the sticks that he fights with.
The boomsticks.
It took me about, I don't know, a month and a half to really capture the face, and then to get the neck and the body all the way down to the feet was probably about 6 months more.
Killed it. That's gonna be worth money.
Wow.
Mhm.
My favorite part was
Man,
I wish I could remember what
How
those
much
sticks
the
were
frame
called. I feel
was.
like that's something the Invincible podcast would know.
Boomsticks, maybe.
Maybe that sounds
We
right.
coined it.
eat sticks.
Who knows? I mean, they can never remember where Oliver is from, so
Fires.
I think it's all right.
I don't know if
From
Robert
somewhere.
Kirkman does.
I mean, I don't know why you just call them like mini logs or something, right? Because you put
Mini
stuff on fire, right?
He's throwing his logs at people.
Right. I'm out. I gotta go to the
It's
store and get some more logs.
dangerously too close to primates.
Mitch, take it away.
We are so fortunate to actually have a surprise guest that's going to be joining us for this episode. We're going to be having an interview with Wyatt Layne, who actually is
Oh
able
my
to come
gosh.
onto the podcast. It's so cool because he was great to be able to be on this most recent episode of the podcast too.
How dare you,
so
Wyatt.
I
He's on
really
the
I have to
Invincible
ask you,
podcast,
what was it like
reviewing
hanging with the
Invincible
guys?
podcast.
It was great.
Wyatt Layne, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much.
Thanks so much for being here.
Incredible.
The music of the Invincible podcast was on our podcast. Wow. Crazy. Starstruck.
Music.
Mitch, how did you get him on the podcast, man?
One time a long time ago, I got to play a game with him, and I kept his contact information. I was able to pull him on. It was pretty cool to be able to surprise you guys with that.
Oh,
I mean, seriously, guys, if I die in my sleep tonight, I'm a happy camper.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know that the Oblivion Song podcast is over, but there are new episodes of the Oblivion Song podcast coming out, just like we mentioned at the top of the show. Square Guy News is still up and running and is going to be sharing a lot more about that comic with Shining Midnight. And hopefully we'll get an interview with Pyle Tiggins. So we'll be very, very cool to get that on eventually. Go and listen to some of our new listener episodes, which are hosted by all of our pets. And I'll hand it over to Luke to take us out.
Hey guys, and don't forget, email us at the Invincible Podcast at gmail.com. We will get back to all of your letters. And remember, a new episode drops every month. It's the first Saturday of each month. And again, we are the Invincible Podcast. I'm Luke. That's Christopher and Mitch. Thank you all. Signing off.
Okay, bye.
Oh my God. I'm speechless.
I can't. I cried the entire time. My face.
My face is probably
hurting.
so red. Wow.
Good.
Oh my God.
Well done.
Wow.
Wyatt.
Dude, Jesus.
It was great.
It was great.
I need to watch it. I need to watch that.
I need to
more.
watch it again for sure.
Oh my God.
I need to watch it again, yeah.
So we're all writing into the Invincible Podcast at
Of course.
gmail.com, right?
Of course.
Okay, all
We're
right.
going to do that right away.
You know what's going to be annoying? Is when that fucking video has more watches.
That was unreal. That was unreal. Oh my God. The artwork in the bottom corner too.
Yeah.
Yeah, who did that?
I don't
Put a
know.
little time into that.
But we're wearing like the Invincible t-shirts.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
This is all so good. Well done, guys. Holy shit.
That was
Very well done.
That was the funniest shit I have seen in a long
In a
time.
really long time.
I didn't know how my unpreparedness was so obvious.
Legendary.
I bet
Legendary.
if people, if they only knew. If they only knew. Go back and just listen to past.
It's amazing that I get through episodes at all.
Oh my gosh, the earlier ones, anytime we
Sitting
were
down
doing
to
like
record.
rereader or like the rereader
I'll
episodes,
just be like, yeah,
just
totally.
like turning the page and be like, oh yeah, that was crazy. TJ, you want to take the next page or?
Ryan, can you take the rest of the issue? Oh my God. I don't know where to go from there. I think oh man.
I'm quite flattered. It was really well done.
I need to show Katie. I got to send that link to some people.
That was.
I know, it was good.
incredible.
And I need that artwork.
Honest to God, guys, that was.
I know.
Whew.
I thought it was just Rexplode, but no,
No.
it was TJ dressed as Rexplode.
Yes.
Very funny.
This commission cost me as much as the frame.
I'm gonna go watch it again. This is too good. It was too funny.
Very good.
The whole time I was like crying.
I know.
Oh my God.
All right. So, we're not going to talk about other stuff right now. Go, go give that video a view. I'm obviously put it into this video, but for real, that was incredible, guys. Thank you so much for doing that. I mean, it's shit like that, it's unreal. It's really unreal.
I thought Wyatt was actually going to be in it.
I know. It's so good. Yeah. That threw me off. That threw me off so much. So I knew what it was, but I didn't watch it. I wanted to get you guys as completely off. Wow.
Yeah. Wow, that was great. Ryan, thank you for that surprise.
Yeah, well, thank them. But wow. Okay, so that does it for this episode.
Everything sounds like we're being made fun of
I
now.
know,
Like,
I
you
know, I
talking
can't-
Right now, I can't
I'm-
even take it fucking serious.
I know, it's all fake. Everything is fake. We're in a simulation. I don't understand anything right now, so we're wrapping it up. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next month. We'll be back. Thanks again to the great Wyatt Layne for doing our music.
to the Invincible Podcast for all their support.
He's great. Bye.
Bye. Bye.